The Glass CEO, an outlet, a channel, a platform dedicated to cast glass. Let's do the YouTube thing. Can you please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and if you're happy to do so, share them. I don't think people realise the investment that you have in a shop like this. I mean, you've got the premises, you've got the rent or the purchase price of the premises, you've got all the equipment, you've got the energy costs of running the things. I mean, I'm sure as technology improves,
it's efficient in a way, but it's still like
it's still
you
costly.
can't compare it to like living at home. You know what I mean? It's not like
turning on the oven.
no, it's not. No, it's like turning on a professional kitchen every day, and then So it's pretty different. But yeah, it's sometimes it's crazy to think about it because I definitely didn't see myself here. It was never my intention to start a studio.
Yep.
I just knew when I moved to Belgium there wasn't one to work in, so I had to do something. And
once again, you brought up the next leading thing. So I was going to kind of lead on from you winning the show, and you've talked about the after effects of how that's had a positive impact. What kind of things are you planning for the future? Are you thinking you're staying in Europe, do something in America? Are you doing some? Do you still do teaching and residencies and things? Is that something that's still on the radar?
I still teach off and on, here and there, depending on what's coming up. Do residencies, definitely, because then I can make artwork without having to pay for it, which is very nice.
Yep.
Although it's always nice when I do a residency too, because I realize that the shop that I've built is like really catered to what I do.
Yep.
And that makes it realize like how cozy and comfortable the shop is.
Yep. Do you do anything in Ghent? Do you run workshops here for people to come in and be coached, or
we run some,
do like starter classes or things or anything?
We do
like
some starter classes. So I don't teach them, but my partner teaches them, and we run those like once a month or twice a month, depends on how the month is going.
Okay.
We also do an event once a month. That's like a live glassblowing event, the first Friday of the month in the evening. So the bar's open and we're gonna hang out. And then we do, we're open pretty much like. We're blowing glass here Thursday through Saturday. We usually open in the afternoon every week, so people can come in and hang out while we're working.
Yep.
I think it's
so
nice.
If people are visiting Europe, Belgium, they can contact you, and there's like an element of they can come and watch.
Absolutely, yes. That's and I know we have this building until the end of the year, 2024. Okay. So beyond that, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
There's a good chance we might end up actually relocating back to the States for at least part-time.
Yep.
That's the idea. I would love to be half-half. Like I've been in Europe 10
time
years.
in Belgium and also in the States, or Europe and the States.
Yeah, Europe and the States. I don't know where. My partner's Polish, so maybe in Poland part-time. Yep. I just don't. I don't know. I can't see. Now I've been here a decade. I can't see going back to the States and then not having a connection.
Not having the ability to come back. Yeah.
So it just seems like and it's always always been my dream as to like how can I live that half-half.
Yeah.
Or not even half-half, but partial, and I think that's the plan.
Well,
the reality of making that happen, I have no idea.
There's the setup of the second video with you, so we can revisit that.
Yeah.
And exactly. see how that plan develops.
So that'd be pretty.
And if you did just say hypothetically you were to go back to the States, would you go back to Philadelphia? Do you have family ties there, or?
I do have family in Philly. I don't think I would go back there. I was back there last year for I don't want to say an extended period of time, but a little while, and I was with family, and I realized that like I needed to leave because I know that when you're around everything that you grew up with, it can be consuming.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be consumed by the things that I grew up with, and I think
as an artist, I think someone like yourself, you need that free space to think and.
I went back. It was really great to be there. I really love being around everybody, and it's very nice for a period of time because I've lived all over the place now, and I can't imagine going back to my childhood home or area. I haven't lived anywhere as long as I've been in Belgium, and for me, it's like.
So if you were to want that dream life, or dream, what's in your head, having that kind of hot shop in two locations, one in Europe. Obviously, I understand if your partner's Polish, and obviously Poland's got a fabulous glass industry anyway. So many places have in Europe, from Venice to Czech Republic to Poland and things like that. So you could position that anywhere, I suppose. Where would you go back to in the US? Is there a particular place you'd want to go back to because it's like, I really fancy living there, or with the weather or something, or do you fancy going somewhere that is kind of glass orientated?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been over a lot of places.
Right answer.
Yeah, no, I was looking at, I guess the answer, I really don't have I looked at Pittsburgh pretty seriously for a little while, because of the Glass Center there and people there, and I really love the community there. I would love to end up there, but it didn't work out in the way that I was playing at the time. So that's not off the table by any means.
Listen, things can change, plans, situations.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say because I have moved around a lot, and it's weird to be like, I'm going to move here and that's going to be it. Because I there was a difference before when I moved around. Like I never like set up shop literally.
Yeah.
And like that's what's kind of made it hard for me to leave here is I set up shop like literally. Like I've built something and then it's hard to be like, okay, well now I'm going to take this and go somewhere. It doesn't really work like that. So
it's not, glass blowing is not really like the laptop lifestyle, is it? Where you just
it's a couple containers, yeah. And then I keep making shit too. I keep making more shit instead of. So once I sell it all,
store it as well.
Yeah.
So there's no real sign day where you sell everything, the last piece is done, and you walk out that door.
Yeah, no. I think a lot of it will go with me. And then I don't know. So I don't know what it. So it's hard. It's just hard to say. Probably somewhere where I could get a lot of space for very inexpensive. Yeah. So probably not where the weather's very nice, unless it's like Texas or something.
You'll buy a ranch in Texas. Plenty of land down there. No, that's great. That gives us an insight into, I think, a lot of things you're doing. So one of the interesting things you've been telling me is that you're now going to be pioneering quite a new technology, which is actually taking one of your pieces and having it made as a print. So if you were a traditional artist and you did a painting, a picture, you could then have that replicated and sell it as a print. A bit difficult to do with glass. But there's a new technology emerged, which is 3D printing in glass. And I understand that you're probably going to be the first artist to actually be utilizing that technology.
Yeah, well, I know there's, in this way, I think, because it's something that like, I don't know very much about the technological side of it, so it's.
I do, and I can talk about that.
Yeah, that's what's exciting to me is that like I can make the things. I think there's artists that are utilizing it because they're involved in the technological side of it. Yeah. But for me, it's something where it's the excitement of making something and then having it reproduced in a way that actually can make it accessible for more people. Yeah. And like I didn't know that was feasible before.
A number of years ago. So 3D printing was originally a concept, and it was invented in a particular style. That 3D printing technology is still there, but it kind of does this. A couple of guys got together, engineers, and they've invented a glass 3D printer. The beauty with this glass 3D printer is it can actually close. Yeah. So it can actually close a form. It's not just a hollow. So when I first saw it, I wanted to jump in and be involved in everything. Yeah. But what I wanted to do is make sure that the pieces that we were involved in were something interesting and dynamic. I didn't want to just produce an Eiffel Tower and give it to an architect kind of thing. Yeah. That's beautiful. It's possible. It's technically, still difficult to do.
Yeah, you can still do that if you want to.
You can still do that if you want to do it. But when I saw your work, and specifically the Mickey Mori range, I'm like, the demo that I saw you doing just like blew my mind. I thought I'd seen everything in glass, and then I realized, no, I haven't. And I've visited everything in Murano to Prague to glass blowing, this, that, the other. And I'm not taking anything away from glass blowers, because it is amazing. But when I saw your work, it was kind of the confusion. So putting your technique and your abilities in on one side was amazing to watch, but then it was the confusion of what is this? And that's why I wanted to meet you and find out more of the story and things like that about the background, which you've covered, and where those influences came from and inspiration and how that developed. So your pieces perfectly lend themselves to glass 3D printing. Yeah. So I think we need to tell people on this video that, your company and our company have done a collaboration with the 3D printing. Yeah. And you physically produced a unique Mickey Mori, which was 3D scanned.
Yeah. So I made the original one here in the shop.
That was made here, wasn't it?
It was made here.
Correct, because I collected it from you. Yep. We then organized and had that 3D scanned. Yep. We then worked with the 3D printer company and the person behind the technology. They manipulated the model a little bit because things that you can create with the hand and things like that, they needed to have a bit more support here. So maybe it's been manipulated slightly, but it is still a one-to-one replica.
Yeah, it almost is exact in a 3D printed way, which is amazing.
And we have the prototype. We're going to preview that on this video and show people. We've got it being photographed and videoed at the minute. And I'm amazed at the detail.
Yeah.
There is a second version 3D printer coming out, and we think it'll refine it slightly, but the one that we've got, I don't think we'll ever sell or release that, because we've got obviously the original of what you did, we've got the original 3D print, and I think there's a huge story there for in 10 years time when we want to revisit all this creativity mixed with technology, mixed with where the whole thing's going.
When we're just pieces in a museum because the computers have taken over.
Yeah, what's it called? The Arnold Schwarzenegger thing.
Yeah, Terminator.
Terminator kicks in. Hopefully that won't happen. And I think the piece is just fantastic. I really do. And I think where it can go is incredible. So,
I mean, it was cool. I got to see the Maple Glass guys in Detroit. They brought their 3D printer there.
They had the equipment there, didn't they?
And to see that in person was amazing, and to see actually how much detail it does, because they were doing a lot of prints, and like, not that it's terribly quick, but how much faster it is than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And yeah, the level of detail is incredible.
The level of detail was the thing that got me, because obviously in one of your pieces there is, when you, hopefully we can get some footage from you that we can put on this video to show people how much detail actually go into like the skeleton structure and the heart and everything like that. And when I actually got up close to it and it was in my hand and I'm looking at it, I'm like, hang on, you can actually see rib cages and bones and things like that. So obviously it's, your first one of one piece has more detail and it's in more color. That's something we're hoping we can do in the future, which is printing, 3D printing color. But it's still amazing. So the plan is that we're going to release a limited number of these.
114.
114. And I'm glad you said that, because the day I was thinking about the commercial side of how this was going to happen, I asked you, do you have a number in mind? And you said 114 like that immediately. So, now, do you want to cover that on the video? Do you want to tell people why 114?
So when I mentioned earlier that my father died when I was 10, he was 38. So it was this really weird number for like me to live to. But when I was growing up, I had 2 siblings as well. Okay. And all 3 of us have surpassed the 38 number, and I know that for all of us it was a milestone. So 38 times 3 is 114, and it's a number that I kind of use. It's like, numbers are always really important to me anyway, but it's a number that always sticks out. It's like an important number, that 114.
And I'm so glad you've covered that, because I know the day I was sat looking at how we put all this structure together in terms of who may want to buy these 3D prints, how we sell it, how we pay homage to, the actual real, not the real, because the 3D prints are real, the actual real glass sculpture, the original, how we kind of relate everything back to that. And that's why I was looking at numbers and things like that, and I've got my commercial head on, and you said 114 straight out the back like that. So that's why there's 114.
It's a key number for me.
Yeah. Just talk us through a bit about Mickey Mori, the inspiration. Obviously, I'm repping the hoodie, you've got the t-shirt, there is merch available.
Yes.
What was the kind of thing that got you to come up with the concept behind Mickey Mori?
So the story actually goes back quite a ways. So it's gone through some iterations. It still is going through iterations. I'm kind of always playing with this character. And it's funny because we talked about this glass community a lot. And this piece, the first one, started as a collaboration. I was teaching at a school in Germany, and there was an engraver there, Nancy Sutcliffe. And she asked me if I would make something in glass for her to engrave. She was teaching an engraving class. I was like, yeah, sure. And I made this skull, and remember just being like, it doesn't feel finished for me. And I, on the fly, stuck these ears on it. And I gave it to her, and she ended up engraving these really cool, all kinds of cool elements into it. But like, when I made this skull, immediately I was like, this is something. And I made another one, and then I ended up spray painting a t-shirt, and then somebody bought the t-shirt. Like, it was a whole bunch of stuff that happened really quickly with it. And it got stuck in my head, and I kept making it. And I was always making a lot of skulls before anyway.
You said that earlier in the video, and then, so it was that one trigger that sticking the ears on.
It flipped it.
It felt complete.
And at the time, I was actually doing a lot of like research on, I had been doing all these Mickey Mouse pieces because I was doing stuff about like Disney and the copyright law. And the Mickey Mori fit perfectly. The idea of Mickey Mori is that it's like the death of the copyright, like the death of the artist via copyright. And a lot of it stems from Disney actually, and the extension of the copyright law because of Disney. So the original copyright law, I think, was 50 years after the artist died, the copyright would end.
Cease, yeah.
And then it was then extended to 80 years or something through Disney. It was like called the Disney extension. And then later they fought again when the copyright was up that the corporation, the company, could actually have rights to a copyright. So not a person anymore. This is no longer the right of an individual. It's the right of an entity that doesn't die. Right. Which was like not, it has evolved again, but like for me that was like a foundation for Citizens United and some of the super PACs that exist, like that corporations have rights like people. Yep. And that became kind of the basis for the Mickey Moris. So they just became a symbol.
Actually going up against Disney, you were going up against the concept of the death of copyright.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and Disney just happened to be the kind of subjugator.
The company
yeah,
that was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Mickey Mouse ears are the iconic thing, and it's the big thing. Like Disney's very litigious and always has been about some of the things, and I always found it very ironic. I mean, I love Disney movies, but like most of them are based on stolen stories from other cultures, and then they're trademarked and copyrighted, so people can't use the words that exist in cultures. Saying like even until like 2018 or whenever Coco came out, like Disney tried to copyright Dia de los Muertos. So it's like, you know, the Day of the Dead, and
yep.
you know, it's not like it's they try to trademark an idea that existed for a long time. So that was the beginning of the characters, like the first skulls, and I made a lot of iterations of them. And they grew into these figurines, or I want to say like the full sculptures, full figurative sculptures, which is called the Hollowed family. Yep. And those, the Mickey Mori started to become kind of a surrogate for me. Like it was something I used in my work. It's a little bit of my own, like, like I said, it's a surrogate, like a self-portrait. And those white Mickey Moris were specifically about like being artists, like, or when you pour your heart out for everybody, you literally open your guts up for everybody to see. And you don't know what the reaction is going to be, whether they're going to be disgusted or fall in love with it. Because they're kind of cute too. They kind of have this like anime figurative feeling. They're toy-like, they're toy size, but they're still gruesome in a way, but not terribly over gruesome. So they have this, they kind of hit on all the levels, and that's something I really like. I really wanted to do with them, that they would have like, they wouldn't be a one-off object. They'd be something that you would have to kind of investigate to figure out what they're doing. They're all almost always, I think they're all of them are like really showing you or giving you their hearts or showing you their insides, like as their gesture. So it's really important for those.
Provocative, but there's a
there's a
soothing side to it as well. Absolutely.
And they're not. I don't want to say they're sad, but they're like, you know, it's like they have like puppy dog look. You know, when a dog comes and they're like, they have that look that they're giving you something. That the figures have the same emotion.
And there's roughly, did you say that there was 6 characters? Did you just describe them as the Hollow family?
The Hollowed family, they're called. Yeah. So the Hollowed family is like basically the Hallowed family, like from the religious name. But there's 6 or 8 of them. I think there's 8 of them now. Yep. All different gestures, and they will grow. I make more sometimes. Yep. I have some more planned, but they're all the same figure. They're all the same character. Just they grow in different iterations.
Different ways. So it's something that's always evolving.
Yes. Yeah.
So there could be other 3D prints available,
yeah.
Maybe with a different number or maybe with the same number.
Absolutely, and I think I remember we had talked about the possibility of being able to adjust via the 3D print, so they could have their own life, which would be very cool. Yeah.
The more we're discovering about the 3D print and the ability to like switch things around like colors and things like that, and the more it's evolving and developing, I think there's even room to play with the prints and the prints to become, you know, kind of like an extension to the family.
Well, that's one of the things that's been the coolest thing for me about the Mickey Moris is they've taken on a life of their own. Like you said, they become merch, they became a brand, they became a symbol. Like people recognize that Mickey Mori from me because it's something I've made a lot of now. There's other people that have skulls with Mickey ears on them that people don't connect with, I guess. And it's not the only part of my work. It's very much like a...
Absolutely. I'm not trying to... That's just one of the things I want to do. I want to show people other examples of your work. So it's not singled out like, oh, he's the Mickey Mori guy.
No,
it's like people should know you for very large pieces and other things that you do.
But the interesting thing is people start to really know me for the Mickey Moris, which is cool because they've taken on so many different forms and it's taken on a life of its own. And in a way that other work I've done hasn't. And that's what makes them really exciting, is that they're like, they just keep growing and evolving and changing, and more people are interested in them. There's something I sell the most of. There's something people collect the most of. They're not something I ever show in a museum, though, in a way, you know, because it's like, they're not the thing people in museums would be interested in, but it's the thing that people connect with as individuals.
For public space, public to kind of buy into collections, things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And I love it that the glass community, and actually, I guess beyond that now, I've seen people in these shirts all the time, which is very cool. You know, like
I've seen a lot on Instagram where people watching your demonstrations have got the t-shirts on.
Yeah,
and things.
yeah.
So I think that's what's cool about it, because it's something that can be relatable. It provokes, it tells a story. You kind of can like it and not like it at the same time. In the same feeling. And then you've got the t-shirt and the sweatshirt. I mean, the hoodies are really cool.
Yeah.
You know, so
I knew when I wore the pink hoodie and the first time, I knew as soon as I wore it on the show, I was going to put a fucking black Mickey on it. I was like, oh, I can't wait. So I mean, I would have destroyed that hoodie in a second if if they didn't take it from me.
I think you did the right thing. You did the right thing. I mean, we're going to show a few pieces that you've got in here. So, is there anything else you want to go through, cover, tell us? Reveal to the
Is there anything I can
audience
think of
watching
right now?
these videos?
Nothing I have something I would love to reveal, but it's not solid yet, so still.
Don't then.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the second part.
Yeah.
That's the second part. Because what I'd like to do is do this every now and then and come back and see you and see how the 3D print side goes, and then let's see how that develops and hopefully evolves as part of the, like you said, the actual full-on sculptures have evolved for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool if they really have taken on its own life, and it's very exciting that, like, I mean, steering it in a way, but it's going. You know, it's like there's a photographer who wants to do maybe a photo shoot where he would develop like a full figure costume of it, and then shoot photos. And some projects that are up in the air that I don't know when they're coming, but they're coming.
We've had some interesting ideas ourselves, just brainstorming ourselves of where we could go with maybe even just releasing like a hand, or just a part of Mickey Mori, not necessarily the whole thing where it's fully scaled. It could be a part that's blown up. And then one of the other things we were thinking about was whether we actually 3D print all the parts and whether you could actually then
assemble it,
reassemble it as
another iteration.
Another iteration, challenge, see how that works, which is crossing two technologies of 3D printing glass and then mixing it in with real live performance.
Now that would be very cool to see how it would piece together too, because that opens up all new avenues and doors.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
And I know that it's possible. I've seen them did that in Detroit, that they made things from the hot shop and took them in.
There's a recent video where a hot shop has taken a 3D print and added it to a more like statue or tableware item. So it's definitely possible. But attaching 3D prints to 3D prints, that could be
a new feeling. And things that are built, like to build it not by me, it's also like build all the parts that I would have made.
Absolutely.
And then I can manipulate it.
So you covered off about things like people being able to come and visit and things like that. We'll put in web links and social media links and things. What's the best way in forms of contacting you? Are you on Twitter, Instagram? What's the...
Yeah, Instagram. Instagram is great. Threads, I'm new to Threads now, so...
Yeah, I've kind of not ventured there yet.
It's because it just came out in Europe. And my website, I think, is the easiest way. Or John Glass's website.
Okay.